everyone. It's great to be kicking off the second day of the Empowering Women Through Secularism conference, and it's brilliant to see you all again today. So just to explain a bit what I'm going to talk about, you may have noticed that I haven't got quite as long a list of qualifications and achievements as most of the other people at this conference. I'm 25 and I've been mostly involved with the Galway pro-choice organisation and doing a lot of campaigning around the death of Savita Halappanavar. So I suppose I'm here really to represent the kind of the new wave of young women who are starting to get involved with political activism in Ireland, and to share some of my experiences around that, and to provide a voice at this conference for that kind of powerful new force that is emerging in Irish society, and that we're seeing more and more across the media, which is great. So Galway Pro-Choice is a small activist group that was first set up last summer. It was initially my friend Sarah McCarthy, who was a 21-year-old student, who set it up. It's very small, grassroots, like completely non-profit and volunteer run. So we work with the Abortion Rights Campaign, Action on X, politicians like Claire Daly, etc. The broad range of pro-choice groups working in Ireland. So we first got involved with the Savita case when my friend Sarah got a phone call from some of the friends of Praveen Halappanavar a couple of weeks after her tragic death had occurred in Galway. So a couple of people from Galway Pro-Choice arranged to meet up with about 10 of the couple's friends. Praveen was, I think, in India at the time. Yeah, so they met up and told us the story, which I think we've all heard by now, and which speaks for itself, and we were as shocked as anyone else on first hearing that. So we thought about what to do, because they'd come to us asking us for our help. We went through a few of the options with them, and they decided that they were, as we all know, they were going to go public with the story. So this involved getting in touch with journalists in Dublin, and eventually it was Kitty Holland of the Irish Times that broke the story. So in the meantime, as the story was being investigated, and obviously had to be checked by lawyers, everything like that, it was quite a process. Down in Galway, there was basically 4 or 5 quite inexperienced activists completely panicking about what to do when the story was going to break. So we knew kind of approximately what day the story was going to come out, and we had to get a press release prepared for that and be prepared to take a lot of media inquiries. Now, I'm just talking about this from our perspective as activists. Obviously there's a lot of ways you could kind of approach the whole Savita story from the perspective of an ordinary activist. Yeah, our experience was quite terrifying, to say the least. We had never had any experience with that kind of international media before. We'd never engaged with kind of politicians in, even I'd never even spoken to a TD before, I didn't think. So when that story broke, we got a phone for Galway Pro-Choice. We bought a cheap SIM card, and we had no idea of the amount of international media attention that was going to fall on us, and I personally had no experience dealing with the media. So on the day the story broke, I had the Galway Pro-Choice phone. So starting from 6 o'clock in the morning, I was called by Morning Ireland, News Talk 106, BBC Radio 5 and the BBC World Service, all within about 7 hours. So it was some introduction to dealing with the media. It was a tough day, but also rewarding. And that was only just that day. That week we were also contacted by Al Jazeera, Primetime, Vincent Brown, and of course all the local and regional radio stations. And quotes from that initial press release ended up being translated into about 17 languages, I think, and appeared in newspapers around the world. So I guess some of my own experiences that I learned from that was that in political activism, your gender does really matter, and I've personally never been more aware of my gender and age status in society than when interacting with the media and politically. And especially in the pro-choice struggle, I think that images and the words of young women are consciously manipulated for political ends. Like, we've all seen the glossy posters and campaigns of the anti-choice campaigners, where when you look at the uncensored media images, the age profile and the demographic profile is significantly older than what you see in all of their campaigning images, which are a few young women pushed up to the front, sort of airbrushed, glossy hair and makeup and everything. Now, fortunately, on the pro-choice side, we don't have to do that, because the composition of our organisations is a lot composed of young women naturally, because we, of course, represent the interests of young women. But it's still, you're still very much aware of your status as a young woman when interacting with the media. Like, you do get treated differently by the establishment media. I definitely felt on a couple of occasions that they didn't really know what to make of us. Like, I went on one local radio talk show in Galway, and it was about when the draft legislation was published, and I had researched extensively all of the draft legislation, all the provisions, and I was going to talk about the possible effects of all of those. Had everything planned and extensive notes and all. So I got on the radio, and the first thing I was asked was, so Galway pro-choice, are you for abortion on demand, is it? And like, it wasn't really turning into a productive debate at all. So I just decided to kind of go with it. And he was asked, the presenter was asking, so you think women should just be able to go into a hospital or a medical centre and just purchase a service whatever they want? And I replied, well, actually, we'd rather have it available for free through the public health service. And then another time where I personally felt very aware of my gender and age was when I was being interviewed by an RTÉ journalist, and I'd been introduced to him as the spokesperson of Galway pro-choice, and after, I'd say, a 45-minute interview, very in-depth philosophical questions on abortion and the political situation in Ireland around it, and at the end he went, geez, you're very articulate. And I was like, well, I kind of didn't really know what to say. I just said thanks at the time, but Michael Nugent suggested that I should have replied to him, and so are you. I'm very good at asking questions. So that was just a couple of the kind of cultural experiences that I've had in dealing with the Irish establishment media. So we've been keeping up the pressure in Galway, and we've been doing protests and marches, meetings. We've been lobbying TDs, which hasn't worked out that well in Galway so far, as you may have noticed. There's a lot of anti-choice TDs in Galway. One of our current actions is we're working with the Abortion Rights Campaign on doing a sticker campaign for the website Women on Web. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's an international non-profit organisation that provides the abortion pills for women in countries where abortion is either illegal or highly restricted. So it's run by doctors. Women go onto the website, they do a questionnaire and an interview and put in their gestational stage, like how far along they are in their pregnancy, and they can get posted safe and reliable drugs to end the pregnancy before a certain stage. So they're a brilliant organisation, and we've been putting up stickers. You may have seen them in Dublin, and they're in Galway now as well, saying for a safe abortion pills, www.womenonweb.org. Now, of course, the problem with this is it's actually illegal to do that in this country. But I suppose I would see this action as part of a tradition of feminist sort of civil disobedience in Ireland. When a law is that ridiculous, I think it's your duty to defy it. I mean, we have broad public support for the dissemination of information on abortion. The vast majority of Irish people would agree that that's completely ridiculous to restrict basic information in that regard, and you're actually endangering the health and the safety of women in Ireland by doing that. So yeah, we've decided that the politicians have been hanging around for over 20 years just to legislate for the X case. So, and we have the broad public support, so sometimes you just have to go for it and wait for the politicians to catch up with you later. Because we have Irish society behind us. So that's why we've decided with this campaign we just need to push it further. So I'd say watch out for those stickers. To go back to kind of I suppose I'm here speaking about my personal experiences, and I suppose to speak about why you would get involved in political activism, which can often be, I suppose, quite thankless and certainly not financially rewarding, or probably wouldn't advance your career going around putting up illegal stickers. But I suppose to come back to the title of the conference, for me it's about genuine empowerment. And I don't know if any of you have seen that article from The Onion about female empowerment called "Women Now Empowered by Everything That They Do." It's like a satirical article, and it's just about kind of how advertisers on the mainstream media have appropriated and diluted the main message of feminism to sell products, like, for example, the L'Oreal slogan, "Because you're worth it." You know, it's shiny hair is what makes you worth it, not what you actually have to say. Yeah, so just as like the main message of the advertisers hasn't changed over the years, which is buy more stuff to make yourself feel better, I think the essential message of feminism has still remained the same, and genuine empowerment involves actions like the ones that we're doing. And so that's kind of why I became involved in politics, and why I think other people should too. So thanks for listening.